Hey guys, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today I've got a video on the County Line 12 volt electric chainsaw sharpener, and I'm going to do a little opening demonstration and everything. I've never used it before, and it's the first time of having any experience with it, so we'll see how easy it is to get set up and actually use it and see how well it sharpens a chainsaw. So here's the County Line 12 volt DC electric saw chain sharpener. It says it includes angle guide and replacement stones. Hooks up to 12 volt power supply, like a battery on your tractor, lawnmower, four-wheeler, whatever. It takes these little sharpening stones, and of course you just buy the size that you would need for the chain that you have. There's a lot of different ways to sharpen a chainsaw. Some of them are like this miter style type sharpener. It's kind of like a miter saw set up on an angle to put the angle on your teeth. You've got traditional files, and you've got like the steel 3-in-1. And there's several other tools out there. There's a lot of different ways to do this and see how it does a little bit later. I'll probably do a video on kind of a comparison on these different methods to see which one works the best, or maybe the easiest. Using just a standard file actually seems like it has given me the best results. So that's what I wanted to try out with this electric sharpener, because I'd like to get those kind of results but quicker. So the first thing that I can tell you about this tool is it definitely needs a longer cord on it to be able to hook it up, because this thing's only about maybe 6 or 7 feet. So when you're putting this thing together, you actually have to take the guide off in order to be able to get the wrench to the collar to be able to tighten it up, and then you just thread this thing back on and you snug it up. So the directions say on this thing to take the wrench, and you have to adjust for each different size of sharpening stone, and you're supposed to loosen up the screws here on the end and then adjust the depth of the stone with this. And it's got this little tool that has notches in it, and you're supposed to place that notch over the stone. Well, the only problem is there's no adjustment that will let that stone touch both sides. So I don't know what it's talking about, and then the picture in the directions is not clear enough to be able to see what they're talking about. Wow, that feels really sharp. Let's do a couple more of them here and see how that continues. Now, using this type of a tool, you're still going to have to go through and file your depth gauges every couple times or so that you sharpen your chain. But the little gauge and everything on here, you do have to be careful, because as I was going a minute ago, it actually slipped up and over. I don't know if I was just maybe trying to kind of pull up. Like a lot of times whenever you're hand filing, you tend to want to kind of pull upwards and like into that cup to be able to sharpen that top side of the tooth, and I don't think that this one's really going to require that. But you do have your angle right here that you can just line that right up with your chain, and then you just bring your tool in there and it is holding that perfect angle and the same angle all the time. A lot of times if you're pushing a file, you'll tend to want to push it forward or pull it backwards. Of course, you should never be pulling your file while sharpening, but you're pushing it and it tends to roll over. Whereas this one, you kind of can stabilize it with both hands, and it seems to be very easy to hold steady. So let's sharpen a little bit more and see how that goes. All right, so wow, that feels really sharp. I mean, it's really got it'll just grab your finger. So just by the finger test anyways, it seems like it sharpens really well. And then whenever if you look at the edge of that thing, like, it is very precisely looking ground. Like it looks like it's really a good smooth cut. Man, that is sharp. That is sharp. So I don't know if you can see that or not very clear, but it really looks like it is precision. Like it's a really nice machined look, almost factory. I'll get that one on there. Wow, and it'll just grab your finger. So I'm going to try to finish this chain up, and then we'll do a cutting test up. The biggest downfall I can see right now with the county line sharpener is that I'm standing right here against my lawnmower, and I've got this table and stuff set up, and it makes it a little inconvenient being strapped down with this cord. So the other thing that I can see, that I don't know if this will play into a factor over time or not, but with this little wheel, as this stone wears down, it'll change the diameter of the stone. So then for the sharpening of your chain, I think you have to be pretty conscious of that, because you don't want to get, that's why they make different size stones, because if a small stone would work in a larger size chain, then they wouldn't need a different size. So as this would get smaller, you definitely need to be conscious of that so that you can get the right cut inside your teeth on your chain. So I couldn't hardly help myself. I had to try out and see how well that electric sharpener worked. So I tried it on a couple pieces of pine I had laying up at the house, and I thought, well, shoot, that is not hard enough wood to really give it a good test. So I came down here, and this is a big piece of red oak. I mean, this is a big log right here, and that red oak is hard as can be, and it done really well. It could probably be a little sharper, but you can see the dust. I mean, it's got some pretty good sized chunks in there, man. It was really flinging that stuff out. It's not fine powder or anything. If it's got some pretty good chunks of sawdust in there, and pretty good wood chips. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty sharp chain. I think with a little bit more practice with using it, I could get that thing razor sharp. I'm really impressed. It's not much shorter time than trying to use files, because you're still sharpening one tooth at a time, but it's just electric, and you can kind of see what you're doing with it. You just line the stone up to the tooth, and whenever all the gaps are gone, like little chips in the chain or wear marks or whatever, that if you hit a rock or hit a piece of metal in a tree or something, when you can see that disappear as you're grinding it with that little stone. So it works really good for me and I can visually see that it looks like it's getting sharp, and then of course you can touch it, and it felt really sharp whenever I touched it with my finger. So in my opinion, the results using it on this red oak, it done extremely well. I'm really happy with it, and it's easy to use. It doesn't take, you're not trying to hold it steady and put pressure on it, or to be able to sharpen it like you would with a file and trying to hold everything perfectly straight. You can actually balance it enough, and then you let the grinding wheel kind of do the work for you. So if you like videos like this, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share them with your friends. Thanks for watching.